Echoes here for the first time in a while with part 1 of What If Deku Was Saved by Hawks. As the title suggests, this takes place after Deku got out of school and is on his way home. When passing by a sewer drain, he's attacked by the sludge villain. Being unable to fight back against the sludge, Deku finds himself unconscious. When he awoke again, he wasn't on the floor, but sailing through the air in the arms of pro hero Hawks, a new hero that quickly rose in ranks recently. Hawks, suddenly noticing the startled boy woke up, says, "Hey, calm down, or else we'll both go down." Deku, realizing that he was in fact struggling and shaking Hawks multiple times, quickly freezes in place and mutters multiple apologies. "It's fine, kid. I'm taking you by a hospital to get you checked out." Deku looks at Pro Hero Hawks multiple times, slightly stunned into silence before quickly saying, No, it's okay. You don't have to. I'm fine." Hawks looks at Deku skeptically for a second before saying, "Well, I have to stop by the police station anyways, so it's really no trouble if you want to go by the hospital." Deku, knowing that his mother couldn't afford such a trip, denies it again. "Really, it's okay. You can just drop me off on a rooftop or something." Hawks, again, stares at the boy before deciding to just go down into the streets to drop him off, saying, "You sure you don't want me to take you to your house instead?" Deku denies the request politely, before suddenly realizing that this is his opportunity to ask a question, one that he would have asked All Might if he ever encountered him, but Deku knows the chances of that ever happening are slim to none. Right as Hawks is about to take off again, Deku quickly stares out. Wait. Hawks turns around and looks at Deku again. Do you think that a quirkless person could become a hero?" The pro hero in front of Deku stays silent for a long minute, seemingly observing him, before saying, "Quirks aren't what makes a hero. It's the heart. There are plenty of heroes that have flashy quirks, and they always get the spotlight. But underground heroes do just as much. They just don't get acknowledged as often. And they often don't have a flashy quirk like I do. So yeah, it's not the quirk that makes the hero, just the intentions." After that short speech, Hawks waits for Deku's response. Deku, stunned into silence, quickly breaks into tears. Hawks stares at the boy in front of him, startled. Hey, you okay?" Deku, still crying, feeling weak in the knees, just says in response, "Yeah, the best." Relieved, Hawks lets out a sigh before looking around, noticing multiple people on the streets staring at this interaction. Clearly they had not heard whatever Hawks said, but instead or thinking that he made Deku cry. Looking around at everyone around him, and then at the boy that is weeping in front of him, Hawks quickly, hoping that he won't embarrass the boy further, turns to the crowd. Deku, not noticing as Hawks slowly maneuvers the crowd away from him, looks up again to see that Hawks has in fact made it away, with the crowd following him instead of staring at Deku. Getting up, Deku goes home as quickly as he can. Underground heroes. It's a concept he had not heard of before in all of his time. And according to Hawks, it's because they don't get video coverage. So, noticing that his mom was not home yet, Deku made his way up to his room and onto his computer. Searching up the simple words, underground heroes. A small article showed up explaining what they are, and Deku suddenly realized why it's so hard to come across information about them, seeing as there are few links that actually mention them. Underground heroes were meant to be secret, meant to be underground, which definitely was why he never heard of them. So, deciding to figure out some past underground heroes, since they're more well documented than the current ones, Deku comes across a very simple one, the codename Stealth. She was a hero from 20 years back that had died during the mission. She got a lot of criticism, apparently, for not having a suitable quirk. The phrase was similar to what Deku had heard in the past. Looking at what her quirk is, it was just one that grew out her nails longer. Not in like a, oh, you can scratch somebody sort of way, but in a, oh, this will be a very blunt nail that goes and does nothing sort of way. Frail and weak and unable to be of any use. However, she did last for 10 years as a hero. She wielded a sword of all things and used it to make her missions very effective. Suddenly finding some inspiration, he looked at what her partner was. Another underground hero, similar in strength. He was just a guy that could grow out his hair longer. It's funny, that type of pairing. He was actually not on field most of the time. Instead, he tried to coordinate. At least that was his listed specialty, is what he did. He gathered intel and acted as a sort of spy for heroes. What really made him a hero was the license. Not much beyond that was actual field work that normally is associated with heroes. Deciding to research even more, Deku found more and more heroes that didn't have quirks that were relatively useful. Quickly noting them all down in his notebook, filling up the pages to the brim, he ended up with a total of 7, all of them from much longer ago. Going back to as far as he can, they got more and more common. Compared to modern-day heroes, their quirks are basically the same as being quirkless to a point. Feeling inspired, Deku decides that if he's going to become a hero, he has to be more like these people. Sure, he can't have the spotlight, but that's not what being a hero is about. It was about saving people, and that's what underground heroes did. In the months that followed, Deku spent all of his time trying to figure out how to be like these heroes. One thing he noticed is that they spent a lot of their time training in their early lives, at least the ones that spoke about how they got there. Deku very quickly learned that there's a beach nearby his house, one covered by trash. Going there on the weekends, Deku would try and take as much trash as he could off of the beach. He couldn't do it every day, seeing as he had school, but he supplemented that with other things, like push ups or jogging to school in the mornings instead of walking. The problem was that this proved terrible for him. He overworked himself and soon enough got sick. His mom had been concerned about it for a while, but after that week of sickness, Deku chose to figure out how to slow down. Looking really quick at online sources for proper workouts, which he hadn't done before, he discovered that he has his limits, and very quickly chose to rectify those. He spent a lot of his time going and trying to push his limits at the beach beforehand, working himself to near exhaustion just while focusing on his one goal. This time, however, he would try and do it in chunks. Making a proper workout routine, Deku decided that he would also have to make a diet plan, as recommended from before during his workout research. This new diet plan he ran by his mother, and while she was surprised at first, she just thought it was a thing teenagers were doing. Quickly moving on from this, Deku spent a lot of his time working and clearing out the beach. One day, while he was clearing out the beach, he notices a red feather fall from the sky. Looking up, he sees Pro Hero Hawks sitting on a heap of garbage right above him. Hawks, looking down at Deku, says, "Hey, it's been a bit." Deku quickly says, "Hello," with much more passion than he should have. But Hawks seems to take it as a compliment and quickly goes down to be on the same level as Deku. "I didn't catch your name last time." "Izuku Midoriya." Hawks looks over at Izuku and quickly just says, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Izuku. It's nice what you're doing with the beach here." Deku, surprised by the compliment, responds, "Yeah, I'm training to become a hero." Surprised, Hawks says, "Hmm, are you quirkless?" I mean, with the question you asked last time. Quickly cutting him off, Deku says, Yeah, I am. What you said really inspired me, okay? You're the first person that ever told me that I could. No, nobody else has." Hawks stared at Deku with a slightly pitiful expression before simply sighing and saying, "Where are you planning to attend?" Deku chooses to simply say, "I'm gonna apply for UA. I don't know if I'll make it through the entrance exam, but I'll try my best. If that doesn't work, I could get in through general studies." Hawks stared at Deku for a bit longer, before just agreeing. "Well, sounds like you have your work cut out for you. But tell you what, if you can get the speech clear by the week before the recommendation exam, I'll recommend you myself." Deku quickly caught on to what Hawks was saying, staring at him in complete awe. "You'd recommend me?" "Yeah. You're more determined and probably have done more training than most kids your age have. Why not try and support that?" Quickly agreeing to the concept, Deku goes back to his work with renewed vigor as Hawks takes back off, agreeing to come back in a couple of months. The correction, Hawks didn't say the entire beach, he just said a section of the beach, because the entire beach would theoretically be impossible by the week before the recommendation exam. It doesn't matter. Anyways, so over the next couple of months, still a lot of time skips, God, Deku works hard and clears out more than just the section of the beach that Hawks had been referring to. In fact, if he had just a bit more time, Deku bets that he could have actually done it, cleared out the entire beach. But he didn't. So on that morning, when Hawks showed up and saw nearly the entire beach cleared out, Hawks did as he said. The recommendation spot was Deku's. Nearly convinced that Hawks was lying to him, Deku quickly checked his mail a couple days later, noticing a letter from UA. The letter was short, telling Deku that he'd been recommended by Pro Hero Hawks and that he was expected to attend in 4 days' time. During this time, Deku decided to lay off on his training. Instead of going to the beach, he just exercised in his room like he had been doing the other nights. After all, he didn't want to be too exhausted for the exam. Going to the examination at UA, especially when nobody else was around, was really stressful for him. But he quickly entered the school and saw a bunch of other kids, one of which being Endeavor's son. Surprised, but of course he shouldn't have been. After all, he is the son of the number 2 hero. Of course Endeavor would have recommended him. Doing the exam was actually fairly different than Deku was expecting. Endurance laps. He had to run and do an obstacle course. It's like quirks didn't even matter. Quickly completing the tasks, far above some of the other people who did have quirks. Well, except for the usage of quirks, but definitely above Momoyahirozu, who couldn't get past the laps as fast as him. After all, he physically trained his body, and she apparently didn't have something that she could summon for this scenario. The obstacle course was difficult since Todoroki tried to get through using only his ice, but the guy with a wind quirk kept messing them up. They slowed each other down just enough that Deku could slip ahead of them. By the end of the exam, Deku was nowhere near the best, but he certainly wasn't the worst. Hoping that everything went well, Deku left, having already taken the written exam beforehand. Going home, Deku waited, praying that he would get the acceptance letter the same day as the people that normally took the exam. At school, Bakugo didn't have a single thing to say to him, just telling him that he better not apply to UA. To which Deku just remained silent. Bakugo didn't know that he already did take the exam, and it's better not to tell him. Going home, or already Deku, having to kill time before he drove himself insane, decided to go back to the beach, clearing out what was left, and then looking out on the sunset on that night. It was the day that the letter was going to come in. The next day, he would have his answer if he was getting into a hero school despite being quirkless. Going home, again, God, I say that too much. Deku quickly gets the envelope, opening it and putting it on his desk. He watches as it lights up, only to see All Might himself there to deliver the letter. Well, the video, at least. Watching as All Might said that, well, Deku was not the best, and that his non-usage of a quirk was odd, but he got in because he scored well during the tests. Surprised, but very happy, Deku goes to his mom, crying, elated that in just a little bit more time, he gets to start UA. And that's the end of the video. I know that all sounded like terrible, but stick with me here, okay? I actually had to do research on what the exam for the recommendation students was. It was like running or something. It was weird. I made up a lot of that since it's kind of vague. Other than that, this video is more just a prep for what exactly is going to go on the next one, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. If there's anything weird, I'll just take it out at a later date. Oh, and I know that I did post a different part 1 to the exact same series, but it's been like, I want to say a year since I posted that, so stick with me if I don't remember it, so I just made a new one. Yeah, it was a great video, and this was Echo Zareth, and please tune in for the next one in hopefully a week's time.